So, Alan, thanks for joining. Thanks for your time here. So, what will you describe, state of play today?
Yeah, I state of play has come as an evolution. About a year ago, we decided that kind of social entertainment ventures wasn't very descriptive of what we did. It sounded more like an investment arm than a hospitality company. So a few of us on the executive team, myself, Toby, our marketing team went through a fairly extensive process to try to find something that is more descriptive of what we do. And we didn't, it was like a serendipitous event, state of play. A lot of what we do revolves around play. The concepts are extremely innovative. They're groundbreaking. They all involve some tech. And ultimately, though, at the heart of what we do involves play. And so state of play hospitality came out of that. I think if you want to define what that is, it's a collection of really groundbreaking concepts. Some of them broke the first ground altogether in Bounce in the UK, and under a collection that really drives to give a curated experience around food, beverage, hospitality, and ultimately connecting people in play, which in the simplest form is really an amazing way for people to bond without technology. I think, Matt, you've been in our units enough to know that when I say people aren't on their cell phones in our places and they're truly connecting in a way that in today's society is pretty rare. Yeah. It has a much deeper meaning for us. And so state of play for us combines all those things together and really drives a unique experience for our guests. And not only our guests, but our management team, our employees. It's kind of a tie that binds name. And so we're really excited about it. It's been very well received, and the rebrand has been fantastic for us.
Awesome. No, it's amazing what in a short period of time, what state of play has accomplished. It's incredible.
Yeah, if you think about it, you have Bounce, Ace Bounce, working with Flight Club to get them launched initially in the UK, Putt Shack, Hijingo now, all coming out of the one company and one founder, Adam Breeden. It's pretty amazing that in a very, very short period of time, by relative standards, that there's been so much output of phenomenal concepts that are really kind of groundbreaking in the space.
Yeah, incredible. I don't know if I can't imagine any other group with this level of innovation, at this execution level. It's bizarre. It really is. So what are the plans for Flight Club in particular? For the next 2-3 years?
Obviously, you're well aware, as I represent, we have some really good things going on. Just coming out of COVID, we anticipate opening our Houston location before the end of the year in Regent Square. Really excited about that development, that opportunity. The initial press and feedback from the press launch has been fantastic. We think it's a phenomenal location, kind of future state location for the Houston market. And we think we're going to be a great anchor for that development. We're West Midtown in Atlanta, kind of going late Q1 of next year. And then what we're considering a potential flagship location for us in Las Vegas will be our biggest location ever at 16,000 square feet in the Shops of the Palazzo. It's going to be a wonderful concept. We think that's going to go early Q2 next year. Then we are looking to kind of take a little bit of a pause over the summer and then filling in with 2 additional locations to be named later in the second part of next year. And then ultimately our pace is that we believe a fair pace to make sure that the brand integrity stays in place is about 4 to 5 units a year, spread out equally, so we can really maintain the brand. The Flight Club brand is so fantastic. We really want to make sure that we're being careful to curate that in each market, and that we're not overdeveloping ourselves to the point where I think if you look at where some competitors have maybe gone sideways in the past, is maybe trying to grow too big too fast and lose the integral parts of what got them there in the first place. And we're really mindful of making sure that Flight Club is being the brand itself is well represented in each market that we do. Obviously our Boston launch accomplished that, and we're just replicating that playbook over the next few years.
Yeah, well said. I mean, obviously you have magic. You want to keep that magic.
Yep.
You know, what inspires you, Alan? I mean, obviously you're doing such an amazing job, and your operations background is tremendous. And I guess take a step back. Why are you in this business? And then what inspires you to
I'm in the process of doing a lot of hiring right now for our new unit. So everyone asks me that question. So it's, I guess ultimately for me, you know, if you want to talk from a purely technical background, I've worked in just about every segment of the hospitality world, everything from QSR to full service fine dining to contract food service and everything in between. And for a long time, I saw this convergence of kind of people wanting experiences, and that experiences, now people call it entertainment. I don't know that it's necessarily entertainment. I like state of play, going back to state of play, but this kind of combination of food, beverage, and a high quality offering that provides amazing experiences for people. Mm-hmm. And I've always I've been in the food business since I was 14 years old. Yeah. So I'm not going to tell you how many years that is right now, but it's a lot. I got my degree in this. This has always been a passion for me. I love the satisfaction of being able to provide service, hospitality, and an amazing product to people that they really relate to and feel good about. And we are their escape. We are their entertainment. And so be able to curate concepts around that, that's really what provides me the most amount of satisfaction. I think a high second to that is I love building teams. Yeah. And obviously this was a unique opportunity to build something from absolute zero. I was employee number one back in, we're going back now five plus years. Wow. So to see what we've accomplished in this relatively short period of time, and also being able to really survive COVID in a really strong way has been extremely satisfactory to me. And to see my people grow and see how people have related to what we've done here has been an amazing satisfaction point for me in my career.
Yeah, no, I can see. I mean, these teams you got to put in place quickly. I mean, that's really such a big part of the business, right? Putting the right team. And you see, and I can't even imagine today with all the other labor forces working against you, how challenging that is to find the right team.
Actually, you know, listen, I'll just touch on this briefly. We've always been, I think, at the upper end of where, you know, people think of hospitality. We offer full benefits for our employees, you know, hourly employees included. We've been on the higher end of the pay scale. Most of our people are well above, you know, livable wages and what they do. They make really good money. And we've always tried to make sure that we are on, I don't want to say we're at the absolute top of the scale with regards to the business, but we've always been a very pro employee driven business with what I would say a high emotional intelligence about what it takes to motivate people. And so, you know, hey, are we struggling here and there to grab people? Yes. But we also, going into this, we were already where people are being forced to go now. You know, we had a good reputation. We've been able to even retain and bring back a bunch of really great people. I just saw two of my servers yesterday that have been with us since Ace Bounce opened in 2016. That came back to us after COVID. So that makes me, you know, another thing that makes me feel good. Obviously, we're doing something right. If someone stayed for 5 years and then comes back to us even after the COVID situation and wants to be part of what we're doing. Yeah,
that's great point. I feel like, you know, the environment is so positive in there and fun and just, I think you're, you know, just even the way you have the host and the you know, how they share how to play the game. It's an experiential from all the way through, and you found people with talent, you know, very high levels that just love entertaining. It's a lot of
it's a unique concept and a unique execution. strategy.
Yeah, really is. Is there something, a piece of advice that you've had over the years, and obviously you've been in this business for a long time, and you've been with some greats over the years. I
have. I've been extremely fortunate to work with some amazing entrepreneurs over the years. I guess if I'm going to get two pieces of advice, both of them kind of come out of my time with Let Us Entertain You. I was really beyond fortunate for a good chunk of my time with Lettuce to work with some of the original founders of the business on a weekly basis, and one of the things that Rich Melman taught me a long time ago, as we looked at everything that we did, he would say, one of the things he'd say to me all the time is, Alan, if this was yours and my business, meaning the two of us own this, and we had to make a living off of this, just you and I had to feed our families, pay our rent, pay all our bills, what decisions would you make? And so I've tried to keep that philosophy going through, and I try to bring it down to my people as well. If this was your business, what decisions would you make? And, 9 times out of 10, if you put that filter on things, it really allows you to make the right decisions, not only for the business, but for your people, and also for, the long-term success. I think sometimes people get too wrapped up in kind of what the short term is going to look like, rather than, hey, if I own this business, I obviously want it to thrive for a very long time. And so you put a little bit different perspective on things. And I've tried to do that everywhere where I've gone. And, we used to get into, the minutia of how much a shelf will generate in a market for us. And when you look at the business that way, it really allows you to make really good decisions, I guess. So that was one of it. And then, on the emotional intelligence side, my partner, Chris Favero, and Let Us Entertain You one time said to me, Alan, you're right, but your car crash right. And I use that with a lot of people. And what it means by car crash right is, yes, what I'm saying is actually right, but I have $10,000 damage to my car. Even though I didn't get the ticket, I still have $10,000 worth of damage to my car. And I try to create that to people across the board, meaning, hey, you could be right, but that doesn't mean that you have to inflict a lot of collateral damage along the way. And there's a way that you can be right without being insulting, without, taking people down, and getting people onto your side without having to be forceful about it. And so from an emotional intelligence perspective on leadership, I've always carried that along, and I always use that with my people along the way.
God, I love that. I love both those. I mean, just to think like an owner, and I love that mentality. That I'm going to use that for sure. And there is so many people that they are so strong-willed to produce their point, that they kind of forget about the damage along the way.
Correct.
That's excellent advice. Great stuff. Well, I mean, so what's the, is there a book or any hospitality? Is there any reading that you do today?
Yeah.
Do you have time to read? I mean, I don't even know how you have time to read, but
I do. It's interesting. We just, we put a new management training program in here in the US for all of our teams. So we have a kind of tie that binds, and I revisited, as part of that training program, some books that I thought would go well to kind of get some commonality and some language across that we can talk to each other in a way that everyone understands. And we just got done as a leadership team reading all 4 books that we put into our management training program.
Wow.
And one of those books that it is a little dated, but it's Five Dysfunctions of a Team. And we have utilized that, and it's amazing, Matt, just putting that out there and putting that through the organization, how that's changed people's perceptions of trust and conflict resolution and being accountable. And it's a great book. It's an easy read. Now all of our management trainees will read it. Our entire leadership team has read it. And so we've now have this commonality in what we're doing. Other things that I do love, like reading about entrepreneurs, like the Jobs biography was a long but amazing book to see the journey that he went through and some of the hardships that he had to overcome. I know everyone thinks of him in the post years, but there were the middle years there too. And sometimes the biggest lessons we learn come from being knocked down and how we get back up and move forward. So, but I would say, as a binding unit for me and with our teams, and then something that had a big effect on me a long time ago is reading the Good to Great books that was done out by the MBA program out in Stanford, and just understanding how to build for longevity rather than build for the short term. And because I think we get, especially in this day and age with the digital and constant email and things, I think sometimes we get very short-term focused, and I like to try to step back as part of my weekly routine and think about where we're going to be in 3 years and what's it going to take to get there, rather than being so focused on what we're working on today.
Wow. Well, that's a heck of a collection. So the first one, the Five Dysfunctions. I mean, Five Dysfunctions of a Team. Interesting. I gotta definitely pick that one up. I haven't read that one.
Yeah, it's a good one, and it's an anecdotal story put together, but it's really about how to build good teams and what it takes to have good teams, teams that function well together, that trust each other. And, along the way comes, obviously, once people read that, obviously comes away is that, there's different personality profiles that just, no matter how talented they are, just don't fit into the culture or the organization. And unfortunately, that means that, if you can't fit into that, the collateral damage, going back to being car crash right, the collateral damage sometimes those people do is more than what their talent is worth, I guess, is a takeaway from the book.
Yeah, no, it's powerful. That's powerful. It's tough decisions to be made in those environments too.
Yep.
Obviously lettuce is a big brand that you respect over the years. Is that today, is there some StandUp Brands restaurant operation companies that, really do,
obviously, obviously lettuce was a big part of my life. I spent almost 9 years with them. I give them single-handed credit for not necessarily turning my career around, but putting my career on a different path and focus more on emotional intelligence than necessarily the X's and O's, as we call it. Obviously Union Square Hospitality in New York is another really dynamic group. In the entertainment space, obviously, Top Golf has accomplished a lot, and it's worthwhile following their understanding, their path and their footsteps. And they've accomplished amazing things. And so there's a lot to that. And, even in Chicago, I think the Dynamic Restaurant Group does some amazing things. Boca does some amazing things. We have Hog Salt. We have so many great groups in Chicago that are innovative. But if you want to take over the long term, I'm sure you're aware, Lettuce just celebrated its 50th anniversary.
Amazing.
So to be around 50 years and all of the concepts that have been born out of that group, it's pretty hard not to put them at the top of the list.
Oh, for sure. It's spectacular. I mean, I definitely is wired in your DNA, how those years with you, those 9 years, give you a strong foundation.
Yep.
Kind of in closing, I mean, what do you see as future trends in the industry? What are consumers wanting today? What do you see happening if you were going to look into crystal ball?
Yeah, I think I answer that question a little bit differently now than I did 18 months ago. Obviously, COVID was extremely disruptive to the entire hospitality industry.
Yeah.
I will tell you that although people are saying that it'll be a slow comeback, what we're seeing in our kind of KPIs and our analytics is more positive, and I think it's going to take a little bit of time. But once people return back to the offices and the CBDs, I don't say it's going to be automatically business back to normal. I think it's going to be a little bit different, but almost in a better way, in that people are going to need more time to bond and to be together in joint places outside of the office, especially with people working more remote. I think we're uniquely placed for that.
Yeah.
I think you're going to continue to see more competitors in our space. They're happening every single day. Different iterations. Some of them have tech, some of them don't. I really continue to see I don't want to call it the demise, but the refocusing of what I'm going to call the middle market full service dining. There's continue to be consolidations, bankruptcies. I think that's going to be in for a long road. Obviously, there's some front runners out there. Darden is doing an amazing job in kind of keeping that their space going. Right. I think competitors are in a much worse off spot. Yeah. They have an amazing leadership team there. Some people that I also have worked with way back when in my career on the chain side. Right. So I think holistically, it's going to come back. I think the CBDs are going to be slower to come back than the suburbs. Obviously, Midwest, Northeast, West Coast, I think is also going to be slower to come back. We already know that the Southeast and the Southern United States has been open in a much longer. I think we're just following the same trends, but we're just behind by 6 months, I would say, from where they're at. So I anticipate kind of starting to be back to normal towards the end of the year, and business to be fairly robust moving forward from there. God forbid something else of major consequence happening.
Right. So it's pretty much, you see, from this point on, I mean, do you see a recovery to the point that you're back 100% by next year? Do you see that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're already seeing the seismic shift in inquiries and group sizes just in the past 3 weeks since restrictions have been eased. We've seen 2 and 3, 4-fold increases in inquiry and group sizes, and things that were part of our business pre-pandemic have come back relatively quickly. We're still not, obviously we had a ton of momentum going into the COVID period. And as you're aware, we were planning to open 3 places in 2020. The way I describe it to everyone, we just pushed everything back 18 months. And my thought process is that we will very much get back to normal shortly.
Well, that's all I had for you, Alan, but I tell you, I am so thankful for our relationship. You've given me, really opened the door up to social entertainment in a way.
Yeah.
It's
been an amazing partnership, Matt. I mean, it's not single-sided. You guys have been with us pretty much from the onset. And so it's been a great relationship. You have an amazing team over there. Robert and Megan do a phenomenal job for us on a day in and day out basis. I've been phenomenal representatives of the brand, and I do appreciate the partnership.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks so much, Alan. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Matt. Have a great afternoon.